man, such a beautiful morning here in Puna. Yeah. Nice smell of the countryside in the air. Gracie's getting herself a good drink out of the water lilies. And I just transplanted a whole bunch of them. Ellen's tub right here, they'd multiplied like crazy. So she pulled them out of there and I got them all potted up individual. Coming up, anybody wants needing water lilies, these are both yellow and purple. And they've been approved by Gracie as having good, clean water to drink. Right there. And the fish pond is doing fine. The tilapia are happy. Weeds that I put in there are growing like mad. I have papyrus. Yeah. That's this stuff right here. It's very architectural. It's a real good looking thing in a container or something. I have a whole bunch of them. So anybody needs papyrus, come on by. What a fine morning. Yep. Really quiet on the road today. Memorial Monday. Nobody's going to work. Except for the cat. Good morning, everybody. Yes, sorry. I had a interesting day yesterday. We had a gentleman drop in who does the YouTube channel Unboxing America. Yeah, it's talks about what's going on in this town, or better price on a home here. Why do people live in this area, etc., etc. Analyzing Americana. Well, he popped in. We had a conversation. Nice guy. Yeah, I enjoyed it. And we'll see. Supposedly around July or so, I'll let you know. The green card guy's going to pop up on his channel. Well, that was fun. Otherwise, the gardens, they're doing pretty good this year. I got plenty of weeds as usual too. Nothing new there, but yeah, let's take a look at them. Everybody seems to like pictures of the garden, right? Skyway tomatoes are starting to set fruit. Prospera basil is looking fine. I've been stripping the Anaheims off of this plant over here. This is Spitfire variety, and eating them as fast as they come on. This looks like the first successful crop of poblano I have ever raised in Hawaii. I'm impressed. This little cucumber is a thing called Adam gherkin. It is really highly productive. As you can see, the fruit comes in nodes. There's like 3 or 4 here to a bunch. Pickleworms don't seem to like them. Here's a new pumpkin called Cinnamon Girl. It seems to be doing pretty good. I had some thrips troubling it when I first planted, but I used some spinosad, and so that quit, and so the rest of it looks nice and green now. We have flowers forming. Looks good. Well, last year the avocado lacebug really raised heck with our trees. This year it seems to have pretty much gone away, and I am getting avocados again, finally. Here's more of the Adam gherkin. Like I said, as you can see, everything happens pretty much in groups with this thing. It's kind of interesting. This is the cucumber that the French use to make the little sour pickles for their pâté, the cornichon. Yeah, well, this works really well here in Hawaii as just a cucumber. And I think it's parthenocarpic because I let some get way oversized, and I brought them and cut them up yesterday. No seeds. They didn't form any seeds at all. Very pleasant. Yuccone. Yep, yuccone is growing well. And here's Gracie. Right, girl? Huh?
Say hello to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good girl. She came running out to see me.
Pomoho, green bean. A little bit of chewing from the rose beetles on there. And I'm getting a little bit of rust here and there, but this is a pretty good bean for the area. It makes good pods. Godzilla squash seems to be doing pretty well out here. We're getting a real nice patch of it. I'm seeing both male and female flowers in the bunch, so we should have some good squash. This thing's not only resistant to the pickle worms, but the stuff is probably one of the best tasting squash I have ever eaten. That's kind of amazing. Oh, good. Carrots directly in the ground, looking real good. Over here is a whole row of peppers, the new Anaheim type Spitfire. I've got a new poblano in there, and there's a brand new jalapeno, which is a decent heat. A lot of the new jalapenos are just too mild. This one's pretty good. Corn. Corn. You betcha. Kale. Tomatoes. There's my first planted tomatoes over there. They're doing pretty good. Got green fruit. Sometimes she worries me when she goes under these tarps. I'm afraid I'm going to throw a rock on her or something. Our raspberry crop is looking good. I've been picking them, and with the new diet I've been using for the microbiome restoration, these are very important to me. These berries, yes. Berries are high fiber. They're also high in polyphenols. Well, the jabuticabas are doing good too. Yep, we've been coming through here and picking them as they go. This is the sweetest one. Yum. Well, it started raining. You can hear it, I think. And so I'm not going to walk around out there anymore. I get the camera soaked. I end up having to send it back to California to have Canon rebuild it. So it's happened more than once. Puna is not good on video cameras, man. Anyway, as I mentioned, the microbiome diet in reference to the raspberries out here. And I actually believe that the jabuticabas also probably very high polyphenol content. This is working, folks. Yeah, I just have to report on it. I don't care whether you're tired of hearing me say it or not, because it's pretty exciting. I knew, to reiterate, that I had suffered some long haul from COVID, and my energy, my enthusiasm, everything was down. Life had become more gray. I was not as excited as I used to be after COVID. A lot of people experience this. It's the anxiety or depression, or in some cases PTSD even, because the gut microbiome gets messed up by the COVID virus, and it's not necessarily going to go back on its own, particularly depending on what kind of a diet you have. And I would say that the average American diet of highly processed fast foods, it's negative to the gut biome. It's not positive. Yeah. And so you're probably already many of you out there are disadvantaged. Now, us gardeners, who grow a lot of berries, and maybe we got apples and citrus, and we're eating tomatoes and watermelons and all kind of good stuff. Well, maybe we're in better shape. And I'll admit that I have a very good diet, had a very good diet, but one, it hasn't always been that good, and two, I don't always stick to it. Yeah, you'll see me eating stuff that probably isn't all that good for me. Sure, I like Ben and Jerry's. Yeah, it happens. Anyway, I seriously decided that something had to be done, though. Yes, because I couldn't sacrifice my state of mind over a stupid virus. And so, after looking into it, I decided that feeding the gut microbiome was going to be the solution to my problem. That I probably had all of the 10,000 different critters that live in me someplace or another, but they were hiding. Yes, because maybe more hostile things had taken over and all. Yeah, so the numbers had been reduced, but they probably were not completely gone. This is what I understood from research, that it's possible to feed them and bring their numbers back up. So I switched the diet, and it's working. Okay, short, simple, it's working. I decided to use pre and probiotic supplements as a jump start because I definitely knew I'd been damaged, and they help. I'll tell you that. They're not the long-term solution here because it's a pill, and it's not exactly your gut biome or your diet, but it helps. It does, the prebiotics do supplement some of the things that you should have been taking in your diet, maybe you weren't getting. Okay. Anyhow, yeah, the basis of the dietary change that I made was that I have not completely cut out red meat. I had a really wonderful cheeseburger a while ago with the neighbors. We went out to eat, and it was a good cheeseburger. I'll hopefully be eating them to the day I expire, and hopefully I won't have one in my mouth when it happens. Anyway, otherwise, the diet has been really fairly simple, and that I've increased the amount of plant materials that I'm eating. I already eat a lot, probably more than most Americans, but I jumped it up so that in some cases meals were 100% plants. In most cases the meals were probably over 80% plant material. Now here in Hawaii we get so much wonderful fresh fish from the fishermen that I have included quite a bit of fish in the diet. We've eaten ahi and eaten ono, mahi-mahi the other day, so I've been eating fish. Although a lot of times I don't deep fry fish. Okay, sometimes I will use the air fryer after coating it, with panko or something, and that's nice. But, I take it to steaming the fish. That's been fun. Anyway, that's not really necessarily part of the diet. The whole idea here is that you are increasing the amount of polyphenols that you're taking in, and polyphenols are things that are the coloring agents mostly. Mostly they're coloring agents in the plants. And so if you got a red cabbage, a red onion, a blueberry, a black raspberry, and on, things that have these highly colored principles, this feeds certain bacteria in the gut biome. They live on those things. We don't, but our bacteria do. This is the real point on this diet. I was raised in America, where we had the food pyramid, right? And it changes all the time, right? Yeah, right. There was probably a time when they had Kellogg's cornflakes at the top of the pyramid or something stupid. But, yeah, you get your basic. But that always was about feeding a human. It had nothing to do with feeding the biome that lived in us, because more than 20 years ago, we didn't know anything about this, really. Yeah, didn't understand that our state of mind had much to do with the stuff living in our guts. So, I've increased fiber. Anything that I would eat with the peel, eat it with the peel. I have increased, believe it or not, fruit consumption. I've gone beyond even what I'm producing here, which is a lot. I'm getting my black raspberries, and I get a lot of citrus right now this time of year. All sorts of different citrus that I'm bringing in. I'm getting jabuticabas at the moment. So I've got a fair amount of bananas, fair amount of fruit coming in, but I'm also buying it in. I've almost been buying organic apples from the West Coast at the health food store over here. Anyway, increasing the fruit consumption. Again, fruit has all sorts of principles and fiber that feed the microbiome. We've talked for years about fiber. When I was a boy, it was roughage. Now they've changed it to fiber these days. Well, it turns out, I didn't know this, the human body can't digest most fiber. It's the bacteria in us that digest the fiber, and they use it to produce psychotropic compounds that stimulate our thought process. Wow. Yep. So increased fiber, increased polyphenols. I have taken the advice eating 30 plants per week. Okay, this is really easy to do, really. If you had 5-grain cereal one morning, threw blueberries and pecans on it, hey, you got 7 plants right there, okay, in the breakfast one day. All right, so this is the idea, that you are increasing the numbers of different plants that you're consuming. I know a lot of us get in a trench. Chicken katsu, rice, mac salad, chicken katsu, rice, mac salad, chicken katsu, McDonald's burger, McDonald's, French fries. We get in trenches. We get so used to eating some of the stuff. The most of it is what I refer to as brown food. Yes, in general, brown foods are not all bad for you, but when you look at your plate and you see mostly brown, it goes in the same color it goes out. Trust me. Brown food is not necessarily a good color combination on a plate as far as your biome is concerned. A little brown food there, little brown food's okay. Otherwise, purple, red, white, yellow, anything but brown. Increase the number of spices and herbs I'm eating too. Herbs like parsley, basil, oregano, these all contain all sorts of wonderfully helpful things, kids, vitamins, minerals, and so on, but they also include things that feed the gut microbiome. I have always eaten a lot of them. Parsley and basil, for instance, for me are more like a vegetable than a seasoning. I will eat whole handfuls. We put a cup of parsley in a soup, for instance, no problem. So increase that. They're very high. So with the spices, I've tried to mix spices. Again, it's polyphenols is what the spices are about. They have quite a bit of it. And the more combination, think combination, chicken katsu, rice, mac salad, no. This is more like eating at a Thai restaurant, when you look at the plate and you go, wow, is that pretty? Look at that. A lot of times with a Thai, it's the way they cut it, clipped it, But the color combinations, they're very good at putting a number of different colors into your food. And that's important. Well, anyway, I did that to myself, and then in turn I went back to an old diet I used years ago that a doctor in California gave me. It was don't eat between 7 and 7. This is the easiest diet on earth. It's a good diet because you don't need to count calories. I used to be able on this diet. I lost 30 pounds when I lived in California using this, and I was able to eat almost anything I wanted to eat. Now, that doesn't have anything to do with the gut biome, okay? But I lost 30 pounds eating pizza and ice cream, but I had to eat it between 7 and 7, and I decided that probably things like a container of Ben & Jerry's were really best eaten around noon. So I had the rest of the day to burn it before I went to bed, see? It's a matter of burning so much. And then going to sleep at night with your gut more or less empty and leaving it that way until you get up the next morning and start cooking breakfast. Well, that 12-hour-a-day fast while I was sleeping, it lost me a lot of weight. And in this case, I've lost 10 pounds already. Part of it's reduction in calories on this, microbiome diet, but the rest of it is that not eating between 7 and 7. That's all there is to it. And well, sometimes in the night I'll get up and I'm hungry. Yeah. Well, the way I get around it is if it's middle of the night, I lay back down and I start to make a meal plan for breakfast. I'll promise myself that, I can have waffles with pecans, maple syrup from my Wisconsin neighbor, and blueberries in the morning, something delicious, Yeah, so that knocks it off. Yeah, just hold off, Bill. You can pig out in a couple more hours, is what I tell myself, and it does work. Now, if it's early in the evening and I haven't gone to bed yet, I will often use a shot of tart cherry juice, which is good for uric acid in the blood if you have gout problems. And or I've used a raw whole kumquat. Yeah, both of them are quite powerful. They have rather sour and sweet reactions, and it's a real explosion. And that explosion tends to numb out cravings for a while. Yeah, 20 minutes to an hour, maybe long enough I can go to bed and get to sleep rather than eating pecans and watching TV, right? Yeah, so it's a very, very, very functional diet. It's the best diet I've ever run across. The other reason I'm using it, though, and I decided to couple this, is that I do have damage in my esophagus. This has been diagnosed. They put the gastroenterologist, he wanted to put a tube up my butt, and I said, no, you're going to put it down my throat because I think we're bleeding and I want to know. And yes, it's true. I have some lesions. They're mostly from too much ibuprofen during a rat lungworm attack, where it took 6 at a time ibuprofen to be able to touch the headache I had. And if my doctors in the mainland had believed me that I actually had an alien parasite invading my brainstem, they might have written me a prescription of something powerful like Oxycontin, but they didn't want to believe me. They thought I was telling them I was probed by aliens, and the doctor gave me a prescription for, here, Bill, Preparation H, the 20-pound tube, you'll need it. Anyway, we have a bacteria in the gut that produces mucus that coats the gut, and it can be damaged, and mine was. But I found out that it can be regrown. This is the beauty of these bacteria. And they can be regrown by short fasting. The recommendation I found was a 24-hour. That was the recommendation. Small, periodic 24-hour fast to help regrow this bacteria that coats the gut lining. But, I haven't taken the 24. 12's been half again as much, and seems to be working. Yes, even the 12-hour fast, it's working. And perhaps some of the stimulation of other bacteria and things in my gut from the rest of the diet and the supplements are also participating in this. But I do believe it's a 12-hour fast every night. So you people out there that have trouble with acid reflux and all that sort of thing, that's how this is caused. So consider this. Well, that's been going on for way too long. Aloha, y'all hang loose. I hope you have a wonderful weekend.